Call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash Shalom to my hopeful elect elder brother over here at my congregation Shariat. Shalom to all you hopeful elect elders out there of the Israelite nation, those of you who rule well, namely the hopeful elect elder apostles over at the Great Millstone Church. Peace and many blessings be to all you hopeful elect men out there, those of you of the Israelite race diligently laboring, bringing forth the true doctrine of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Namely, you hopeful elect brothers that I personally labor with. Peace and many blessings be as well to the rest of the 1/3, all you true believers out there of the Israelite race. Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 9, whom shall he teach knowledge? And the he here being Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, simply being the true name of the Heavenly Father and the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. And it says, whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? All right, and this an answer to this question. The answer will be the elect of the Israelite race, the Lord's elect. And the Israelite race being who we today call you so-called black people, consisting of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, and Seminole Indian people that are scattered abroad. All right, you are the Israelites. And ultimately, as always, this message is out to the hopeful elect. And once again, the elect being those whom he shall teach knowledge. That's who is able to receive the knowledge of the Heavenly Father that's given to the elect of his nation and current to be taught this word, to be taught the true doctrine of the Bible and understand it. All right, to become teachers to our nation and ultimately teach the elect, that is amongst us. The rest of the elect, those who may have not been woken up to this truth just yet, or are currently learning this truth, are diligently in this walk. The walk, when I say walk, I mean our everyday lives. In our everyday lives, meaning our walk would be in line with the true doctrine of the scriptures. Us currently learning and furthering our knowledge in his word. Once again, Isaiah 28 and 9, whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Is going to be the elect. And at this point, we the hopeful elect, So another major point that I want to point out here is the fact that you have to be made to get this, because we have to understand that it's a majority of the Israelites that won't get it. All right. Some people are going to be able to pick up on his word, but they won't endure long enough to reach the reward. So the Lord has to choose you, for one, to be taught this knowledge, to understand the true doctrine of the Bible, and ultimately for you to endure to the end. So it's not something that you can ultimately choose. It's something that you have to literally have been chosen, thus of the election, to get. And we're going to get this in the book of Romans chapter 11 in the 7th verse. It says, what then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for. So ultimately, speaking of the majority of the Israelites, that's the 2/3. The 2/3 that will, perish here in America from being intermingled into this current world. In the current world, according to the book of Job, chapter 9 and 24, the earth overall has been given into the hands of the wicked. So this is a wicked world to follow. Anything that you have learned in this world and that's of this world that you are pursuing, which are the many ways that these people who are actually trying to obtain, all right, most people are truly trying to obtain what? Life. Trying to obtain some kind of knowledge. They're just doing so in a way that's not going to end well for them. All right. Ultimately, everyone's truly searching, looking for, and looking to obtain according to this doctrine. They just don't know it because they haven't been given to understand it. Once again, the 2/3, they're obtaining and they're seeking in this current world, the world that was given to the hands of the wicked being who we know today to be the so-called white man, the so-called white race, and ultimately the elite, those global elite banking families. Those are the wicked, all the way on down to these wicked, Edomites we deal with on the daily. All right. When you have been given over to them, their ways, their thoughts, that's the way that, once again, the 2/3 of the Israelite nation are going to be trying to obtain, and they're not the elect. So therefore, they're not obtaining that which they seek it for, which is ultimately trying to obtain life, to live, to know. It says, but the election hath obtained it, which is the point. The Lord's elect have obtained it because it was given to them to obtain. They were made to obtain. All right. They were chosen to obtain. Once again, we go hop back, Isaiah 28:9, to be taught knowledge. Whom shall he teach knowledge? His elect. And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? The elect. Therefore, the elect hath obtained it. And Salakia, hopping back to Romans 11:7, it says, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. The 2/3 were blinded. The election will obtain the knowledge and understanding of the true doctrine of the Bible. And the rest were left blinded, and the rest being the 2/3 who are going to be destroyed due to them not obtaining and being ultimately obtaining according to this world, which would be them walking according to the ways of the wicked, thus them being wicked. Verse 8 says, according as it is written, so it's written beforehand, and it's ultimately speaking of, what was written before the Old Testament. So we're going to go to the book of Isaiah and read it. It says, the Heavenly Father hath given them the spirit of slumber. So that's what we experiencing when we see the 2/3, their ways, their actions, their disbelief in this truth. They're unwilling to, come into this. It just wasn't given to them. And it's all of the Heavenly Father's will for it to be that way. All right. According as it is written, the Heavenly Father hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see. No matter how many visual aids you bring out, no how many times you can explain how great you can explain, if it's not for the 2/3 to get it, all right, an unlearned Israelite, an unrepentant Israelite to get it, they're not going to get it. And it's of the Heavenly Father's will. It says, and their ears that they should not hear. So eyes that they should not see and ears that they should not hear unto this day. So that's what we are experiencing. That's what we see. That's what's in front of us. Only the elect is going to understand this doctrine. All right. Verse 9 says, and David said, let their table be a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Verse 10, let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and bow down their back all way. Yeah, because they're trying to make it, but they're not going to do so in a way that's actually going to be beneficial to them. The ways that they take are the ways of the world, and it's going to ultimately go forth to destroy them. So let's get that in the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, in the 10th verse. It says, for the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep. So yeah, the 2/3, they have the spirit of deep sleep. And ultimately, before, you came into this truth, you had that spirit upon you. But the Lord chose you. Matter of fact, we hop back real quick. Thus made you, see, whom shall he teach knowledge and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? The Heavenly Father allowed us to understand the doctrine. Thus, he took that spirit of deep sleep off of us. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep. All right. The 2/3, they stay stuck in this deep sleep, even when they hear the word, even though when they see the truth right in front of them. It says, and hath closed your eyes. So their eyes are closed. So they won't be able to see. They won't be able to hear. It says, the prophets and your rulers, the seers, have he covered. These churches, you go into one of these churches that teach plantation Christianity, and you see all these jakes caught up in it. The Catholic churches, a lot of the Northern Kingdom part of these have been set up, and it's all of the Lord's will that these things go forth to happen. But that's ultimately what we're experiencing. The spirit of deep sleep put upon the majority of our nation being our race. And today, thus, you being called so-called black people and not knowing that you're the Israelites, God's chosen people. And it says, and the vision is all, Salakia, and the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book. And that book is these scriptures. And it says that it's sealed. And this book is sealed. You know, it's just not open to anybody. The Lord has to allow you to be able to receive this. All right. And it speaks of all. This is the vision of all. Ultimately, prophecy, everything that is going to come forth to happen. And it says, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed. So even one who may be seen to be learned, unless it's given to him, he's not going to be able to unseal this book. Verse 12, and the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I am not learned. All right. And this is how people in the world are. Verse 13, it says, wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, all right, people talk a good game. You know, they may even know the scriptures or at least be able to recite them, but they have no understanding of them. It says, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me. And their fear toward me is taught by precept of men. So that's what we're seeing going on in all of these churches, amongst all of these unrighteous believers, man. So-called believers, because they're not truly believers. It's been taught by the precept of men. And the only way that you're going to learn this truth is through the Heavenly Father allowing you to, you being made to get this, thus the election. Back to that point. So we'll hop back to the book of Romans chapter 11 and verse 7, and then we'll hop down to the point. It says, what then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. All right. And that's what we go get. That's the point. So we go back to we started this off at the book of Isaiah chapter 28. In verse 9, it says, whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? And we answered that it's the elect of the nation of Israel. At this point, they're the hopeful elect. And it says, them that are weaned from the milk. Thus they were brought up the correct way. They were weaned from the milk. They started off with the milk, and then they were able to gradually get into other things. The milk is the base things. The base things of the scriptures, not the meat, the deep depths of it. You got to start it someplace. You're not going to come into the truth and just know everything. You have to restart and become as a child again. Thus, being likened to a baby. Babies drink milk because it's a simple thing that their body can process. And even babies don't go straight from milk to meat. They go to like pureed fruit or food after that milk process. So it's a step. It's a way that you got to go. And there's only one way to get through this, is going through it the right way. All right. Therefore it says, them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. And the breast produce milk. So you have to be brought up and built up the right way. And that's why you have been set up ultimately with men over you who have obtained. And you have to use those men to your best advantage so you can obtain. And there's no skipping steps. And that's just how the Lord has it set up. So that's what we're dealing with when we consider our nation. We have those who are given to be able to receive this word and actually endure unto the very end. And we have those who are completely asleep, who won't receive this word and are ultimately not going to obtain. Obtain to what? Life. Life eternal when we receive the kingdom of heaven for enduring to the end. Because this word can come to you, it can get away from you. There's men who have came all the way into the truth and are falling out. So it's ultimately about obtaining this word and holding on to it and obtaining it to the end. And you have to do so according to the process that was set before us, being weaned from the milk, so you can graduate into higher steps. So I'm just going to say, Lord willing, this is edifying. Call Allah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.